Welcome to Leading Edge 120. You're with Maureen Metcalf and Greg Moran. And Greg, today we're seeing even more about strikes. Well, we've seen the writer's strike resolved, the automotive strike is elevating. And to me, this is addressing underlying pressures across the economy. Tell our listeners what you are seeing and thinking about.
I spent 8 years in the automotive industry myself up in Detroit, and so I've gotten a front row seat on these sorts of events. And in my view, I think I'll start with the premise that anytime you reach the point where a strike happens, that's the worst possible outcome. That's the corporate equivalent of civil war, which means there's a lot of unaddressed problems that have built up to the point where both sides don't feel like they've got any option. And, with a collective bargaining agreement, of course, the workforce has the opportunity to strike against the company. And we see that happening right now. What I would remind people from a leadership standpoint is we are in an economy under pressure in a lot of different ways. We have new technology that's impacting the economy in profound ways like AI, which was a key factor in the Writers Guild strike. And we've got regulatory pressure on the automotive industry to drive EV adoption that potentially affects the workforce. At this point, if you work in a large enterprise, even if there isn't a collective bargaining arrangement, I would encourage you to really be thinking through and engaging with your team to understand how these exogenous factors are impacting the level of engagement of your employees, their level of satisfaction, and their perception of risk and fear, because otherwise you can end up in the non-collective bargaining version of a strike, which would be quite quitting in some of the things we've talked about in previous episodes.